This is a series where I'll go through and examine my own opinions. More than that, I will back up my opinions with sources. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the prevalence of false rape allegations. So what does the research say? Well, in 1995, the FBI concluded that 8% of forcible rape complaints were false. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center, NSVRC, concluded that 2 to 8% were false. A study titled The Prevalence of False Allegations of Rape in the United States from 2006 to 2010 by DeZutter et al. Concluded that the rate was 5%. Another study, assessing police classifications of sexual assault reports, a meta-analysis of false reporting rates, concluded that the total false reporting rate was higher than the 5% it found. Another, false allegations of sexual assault, an analysis of 10 years of reported cases, found 5.9%. Alright, that's all fine, but it's all for the US. What about my own country of Canada? Well, Statistics Canada has found the rate of unfounded sexual assault cases to be 14%, and then the previous year was 19%. Okay, so the research yields a range of 2 to 19%. But wait, what's the 2% floor based off of? It's repeated everywhere, but none of the studies actually demonstrated it. They had a minimum of 5%. Well, it actually has no basis in reality. Greer, 1999, says that there's been no study to give this statistic a, quote, evidentiary basis, unquote. But now we have a range of 5 to 19%, which is still really wide. Now, we have two groups of numbers. We have a 5 to 8% and then a 14 and 19%. That's quite the gulf between them. And what could cause this gulf? Is it that Canada has much higher rates of false reporting? Well, no. It's actually that Stats Canada has a broader definition. Well, more accurately, unfounded is broader than false report. Unfounded means that they think it's false, whereas the other statistics that I've shown are more convicted false. So using this, we can conclude that the rate of false accusation is roughly between 5 and 14%. Now that we've gotten the research out of the way, maybe we should look at what feminists have to say on the issue. Here's one, an article from Ravishly. Our author says that less than 5% of rapes are falsely reported, and then goes on to say, quote, if you don't want to be accused of sexual assault, don't sexually assault anyone, end quote. As if she didn't just say that 1 in 20 reported rapes are false. But maybe she's just some crackpot on a website nobody knows. Let's try perhaps everyday feminism. Quote, some women lie about rape, but it's rare, end quote. And oh, look at this, 2 to 8%. That 2% figure that I debunked. But ignoring that, ignoring the factual impairment of this article, that isn't even an argument. It concedes the position, then hides the concession. Like, let's take the absolute minimum number given, 2%. According to Stats Canada, there was an average of 19,000 sexual assaults reported to police every year between 2009 and 2014. 2% of 19,000 is 390. That is a minimum of 390 people a year that are falsely accused of rape. And that's what the numbers the feminists are putting out. Now, with the rate I found, that's closer to 1,000 false accusations every year. 1,000 lives potentially ruined because people believed the victim, because only 2% of rapes are false. Quite frankly, the exact rate doesn't matter, so long as it is above zero, and it is above zero. Treating the accusation as the proof is a blatant miscarriage of justice, and there needs to be harsher punishments for falsely accusing someone of rape. They should face the same punishment that the crime they alleged would get, and just as much social repercussions. And it would be in the feminists' own interest to minimize the rate of false accusations, not by censoring any talk about them, but by making them less likely to occur, since the truth will always get out. For the sole reason that the biggest contention to believe all women is that false, maliciously false nonetheless, accusations do occur. Now, I'm sure someone's going to try and level some sort of argument along the lines of, you can't have an opinion on this because you're a man. Wouldn't be the first time someone said that to me, but ignoring the blatantly sexist nature of this, it is completely irrelevant and misses the point entirely. And to top it all off, using that logic, women aren't allowed to have opinions on false accusations because they are almost exclusively used against men. Now, to those who say that sexual assault is underreported and therefore you're less likely to have a false accusation lodged against you, A, that's not how it works, and B, self-reporting data is unreliable and unverifiable. Now, much like the actual numbers for sexual assault, the actual numbers for false accusations are dark numbers. There's no realistic way to know them, but we can try and get close, and we can try and get as close as possible to the actual numbers and punish the guilty parties to the fullest extent of the law.